What are the top quarterback spring battles? On3 put out a list, I want to say it was right around a week ago, of 5 specific battles going on around the country. And I think we need to break them all down because they're all unique in their own different way. And a couple of these will have college football playoff implications in a very big way. And the first of which is the Georgia battle. You got Carson Beck versus Brock Vandagriff versus Gunnar Stockton. And the way that I look at it, this offense itself, yeah, you lose some guys, but for the most part, it's ready-made for the right driver. Again, I don't expect Mike Bobo's offense to be wildly different than what Todd Monken did. Okay? Now, there may be different innovations that Mike Bobo brings to the table here. They might call it a little bit differently, but schematically, I think it'll be very, very similar. Now, Stetson Bennett, I think, proved a lot of people wrong over the course of his time at Georgia. But what made him so good? Yes, he's got some physical tools, but what made him really good at Georgia, what made him a national champion 2 times, was the fact that he knew the offense so well. He knew all the nuances of the car so specifically. And any of y'all that have driven an old car, you know what I'm talking about. Hey, man, you want to hook up to Bluetooth? Well, you got to make sure you bend the cord just right and hold your phone directly towards the sun so it heats up and you get to the Bluetooth. You know what I'm saying here? Just the little quirks of the car. Stetson Bennett knew all of those to the nth degree, and you heard Kirby Smart talk about it a lot. He played well within our system. How often do we hear Kirby Smart say that after a game? Hey, great game by Stetson Bennett, but played well within our system. It kind of felt like a backhanded comment towards Stetson Bennett, probably another topic for another time. But the fact of the matter is, any of these guys, whether it's Beck, Vandagriff, Stockton, any of these guys can win a third for you, all right? They could get it done. But in order to do that, they have to be extra familiar with the system. They have to be extra familiar with the car like Stetson Bennett was. You got Brock Bowers, you got Oscar Delp, you got Dominique Levitt. You got a lot of pieces here, but are you able to operate the car in a similar fashion to which Stetson Bennett did? I personally believe it'll be Carson Beck based on what we saw in the national title game and based on the buzz around him close to Athens. But it'll be a duel, man. They'll let him have it out. New OC should be a lot of fun to keep track of. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Piquel. This channel, The Hard Count, we got you covered, all right, on the On3 YouTube channel. 12 months out of the year. We don't want you to miss a thing, so keep it locked right here. Now, another battle we need to look at. The Ohio State Buckeyes have not one but 2 5-stars in-house. I've said it before, the most luxurious question mark in all of college football is who are the Ohio State Buckeyes going to play at quarterback? You got Kyle McCord from the 2021 class, was a 5-star. You got Devin Brown from the 2022 class. Both these guys can play. And the difference to me between Ohio State and Georgia in this scenario is whoever ends up being the driver for Ohio State is driving a Ferrari. Georgia's a Ferrari too, but how many of you know this? If you end up taking over the Ferrari at Ohio State, we're not going the speed limit, we're not playing it safe, but you can't crash either. All right? It's not going to be this thing where we just hand the ball off and we'll sort of take some time off the clock and we'll dink and dunk and just make sure you're comfortable. No, man, we got Marvin Harrison Jr. on one side, we got Emeka Egbuka on the other. We are airing this thing out. You better be able to go 85 because we need you to, all right? But also, you better not crash and burn. You can't be throwing picks for us here when we call 4 verts. So it's sort of this balance of being able to drive the car safely, but also go at the pace that's required. Now, if I were just to pick an entertainment value in terms of quarterback races, if I were able to just peel back the curtain and sit and watch any spring practice that I could, the quarterback battle at Ohio State would be a fun one to watch. I think that'll be like a heavyweight bout. Just these 2 quarterbacks going back and forth. The rumor from people close to Columbus is that this is Kyle McCord's job to lose. Now, Devin Brown, extremely talented. Okay, extremely talented. I venture to believe he will make it very difficult on the staff there at Ohio State. But Kyle McCord, right now, if we had to place a bet, would be who we would bet on. But again, it will be a heavyweight bout. You're driving a Ferrari. You can't go slow and you can't crash. So that'll be a whole lot of fun to watch. How about the Nebraska Cornhuskers? You got Casey Thompson, who started last year and I think gets a bad rap when he was healthy and when he had things somewhat stable around him. I thought he played pretty well. I thought Casey Thompson did a pretty solid job. Then you got Jeff Sims. who the word when you think about Jeff Sims that comes to mind is tools. So many gifts for Jeff Sims. He's about 6'4", 220 pounds, rocket for an arm, over 20 starts at Georgia Tech. He's transferring in. He's going to try and take the job. Okay, now this battle I think will go back and forth, but we had Matt Rule, head coach for Nebraska, on the hard count. I believe it was around a week ago, when we asked him straight up, what's it going to take to start for you at Nebraska? What's it going to take? And he said, you got to have the it factor. You got to be able to take care of the football. And for me, reading between the lines, what I gained from that is you got to be able to take a profit. I had a great coach tell me this one time. You don't go broke getting paid. And for Nebraska's quarterback race, it's not going to be a matter of who makes all the big throws, who has the most highlight plays, who made all the off-platform throws and the no-look Patrick Mahomes kind of deal. I'm sure that's great. And if you can do that within the confines of the offense, cool, we'll roll with you. But this, to me, is going to be who can keep the chains moving. It sounds cliche. It's coach speak. But guess what, y'all? Coach speak is coach speak for a reason, because it's true. So Jeff Sims and Casey Thompson, I anticipate to go back and forth. But what it will come down to is who can consistently take a profit, who can do the quick game well, who can keep from turning the ball over, who can pick up a first down with their legs. That's what it's going to be about at Nebraska, not the wow factor. All right, so the tools for Jeff Sims are nice. Casey Thompson did a lot of great things last year for Nebraska. Who can take a profit will end up winning this quarterback battle. Now, Alabama also got themselves a quarterback race. You got Jalen Milroe, you got Ty Simpson. Another dark horse in this race, for me at least, is Eli Holstein. He enrolled early at Alabama, was there during bowl practice, so keep an eye on this. The interesting thing about this is you have a new offensive coordinator in Tommy Rees. So the edge that maybe Jalen Milroe did have, being the older guy there and being in the system for the longest period of time, I think that edge is sort of negated, or at least minimized a little bit. Ty Simpson has a lot of tools. That's kind of the buzzword when it comes to spring quarterback battles. Really athletic, makes a lot of off-platform throws, can extend plays with his feet. Jalen Milroe, a really good athlete, in a small sample size last year, was underwhelming to say the least. Okay? So what I think it comes down to for this quarterback race specifically, who's able to cash in? Who's able to cash in? And what I mean by that is this Alabama offense will be physical with you up front. They're going to make it a point to run the football early, run the football often. That isn't to say they're not still going to take their shots deep. But here's the reality. Whenever you're a running football team, or you run to set up the pass, rather, as I anticipate Alabama will be, you only get so many chances to go deep and make the defense pay. You only get so many chances to take advantage of that safety playing at 7 yards as opposed to 9 yards, and your receiver, Isaiah Bond, has a step and a half. Like, you can't miss him when he's 15 yards downfield and nobody's around him. Okay? So who's able to consistently cash in is going to start for Alabama, for my opinion. Now, obviously, there's some other facets that come into it, who can keep the offense moving, who takes care of the football, but I think the differentiator will be who can cash in on those big-time throws. Because Alabama is going to have a lot of those available this year. I'm just telling you right now. They're going to be physical up front. They're going to take their shots when the defense tries to overcommit. I think you can win with any of these guys, but for me right now, based on what we have heard and what people think about Ty Simpson close to Tuscaloosa, I think it's Ty Simpson's job. I think he will end up winning this job in camp. Now, we'll see how long these races go, but I do think Ty Simpson's going to be ultimately the one that I would bet on right now. Now, the last race that On3 talked about, and that I think is just fascinating, hilarious, deserves a Netflix documentary, all that. What is going on in Oxford, Mississippi? I mean, does anybody know what's going on in Oxford, Mississippi right now? Lane Kiffin has not one, not two, but 3 quarterbacks. He's got Jackson Dart coming back from last year, who I thought played better at times than the narrative around him. You got Walker Howard transferring in from LSU, who was highly recruited out of high school. And you got Spencer Sanders transferring from Oklahoma State, who has had, I would say, a streaky level of play when he was at Oklahoma State, but still played a lot of football, competed for a Big 12 championship in 2021. Like, Spencer Sanders is that guy, okay? He can make some things happen. Also worth noting, Spencer Sanders has 1 year left. Translation, he's got to play. He has got to play. He did not come to Ole Miss to sit a year and figure it out. He's got to play this year. The best way for me to think about this with this quarterback race is Lane Kiffin essentially took 3 beta fish, you know, those kind of scary looking fish you see at PetSmart that are supposed to stay in their own tank, not supposed to put them with other fish. He took 3 beta fish, dumped them into his quarterback room, and says, all right, y'all figure it out. Y'all go after each other. This will not be a civil quarterback battle. Men lie, women lie. Y'all parents' Facebooks don't lie. And Jackson Dart's dad went to Facebook, posted a picture of them hunting like mountain lions or something crazy, and said something to the effect of, some people talk trash in the offseason, some people work. I don't really get it either. I just thought it was hilarious, and I think it sets the table for a wild quarterback derby. Now, the advantage here for Walker Howard is he doesn't have to play this year. He can sit back. He can bide his time. He can wait his turn. Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders are on the clock here. Jackson Dart has 2 years left. Like I said, Spencer Sanders has 1 year left. So they're about to go toe-to-toe, man. It should be a lot of fun to watch. This is one that I said, again, will not be a civil quarterback battle. They will be at each other's throats, practice in and practice out. And I think at the end of spring practice, you will see one of these cats transfer out. Now, how does that work with eligibility for their next school remains to be seen, because, again, Spencer Sanders has transferred once. Jackson Dart has transferred once. So on paper, you would imagine they have both used their one-time transfer with no penalty. So we'll see what happens there. We'll leave that to the powers that be to figure out. But these quarterback battles will have massive implications on their conference races and college football playoff races. And spring football's here, y'all. Let's lock in. Football, for those of us that are junkies, is back. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.